Foundation statement. Our fathers and mothers came here, lived, loved, struggled, and built here. At this place, their love and labor rose like the sun and gave strength and meaning to the day. For them, then, who gave so much, we give in return. On this same soil, we will sow our seeds and liberation and a higher level of human life. May our eyes be the eagle, our strength be the elephant, and the boldness of our life be like the lion. And may we remember and honor our ancestors and the legacy they left for us as long as the sun shines and the waters flow. For our people everywhere then. Harambe! Let him pour. You're going to see his hand go up. All right? And I know some people in the back can't, but your Harambe will be felt and just as loud. Okay? For Shaka, Samori, and Nzinga, and all the others known and unknown who defended our ancestral land, history, and humanity from alien invaders. Harambe! Harambe! For Garvey, Muhammad, Malcolm, and King, Harriet, Fannie Lou, Sojourner, Bethune, and Nat Turner, and all the others who dared to define, defend, and develop our interests as a people. Harambe! So when my hand go up, because I know some people in the back can't see me, that's when you do your Harambe, because I know you can't see the brother pouring, okay? We good, family. For our children and the fuller and freer lives they will live because we struggle. Harambe! Harambe! For Qaeda and the Aguza Saba, the new system of views and values which gives identity, purpose, and direction to our lives. Harambe! Harambe!
Do it twice.
There you go.
Wrong with that? Do it
For
twice.
the new world we struggle to build.
Harambe! Harambe!
And for the continuing struggle through which we will inevitably rescue and reconstruct our history and humanity in our own image and according to our own needs. All right. At this time, it's also customary that we remember our forefathers and our foremothers, those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And the majority of the time, that sacrifice was death. They gave their lives so that we may be here. We have a responsibility to not only recognize who they are, but also continue that struggle that they placed on us.
That's right.
So we acknowledge them by calling their names, and we do that collectively. You need to understand that when you call the names of those ancestors, they not only become a part of this program, but they become a part of you. And then they realize that everything you need, you now have. Despite the fact that some of us like to believe it's our degrees, it's our looks, it's our houses, it's our fortune. I got bad news for you. Someone sacrificed. And when you don't give back that due, you can't receive what you need to receive.
That's right.
So on a spiritual plane, at this time, we call the names of those individuals who are so deserving. Now please don't anybody say Barack Obama. Because as much as some people would like to see him dead, he is not. And it's not our job to make him. There's some other folk that need to go, but he ain't one of them. So we're going to make the call. You call anyone you know who's in your spirit that needs to be called, okay? And as you make that call, the brother will pour libation for them. Harambe? Harambe! Every time you make a call, we're going to call Harambe. Okay?
Noble Jew Ali.
Harambe! Marcus Garvey. Harambe!
Master Bilal.
Harambe! Harambe!
Malcolm X.
Harambe!
Elijah Muhammad.
Harambe!
Andy Luhema.
Harambe! Larry Doby. Harambe! Dr. Frank Napier. Harambe!
Nat Turner.
Harambe! Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Harambe! Imam Pasha. Harambe! Amir Baraka. Harambe!
Imam W.D. Muhammad.
Harambe! Keep calling. Come on, family. Come on. Come on, family. Come on, family. Harambe! Come on, family. Alame Clark. Dr. Clark. Come on, family. Call him. Harambe! Call him, family. Call the family. Call him. Harambe! Martin Barnes. Harambe!
Jesse Dixon.
Harambe! Harambe! Miss Van Rensselaer. Harambe! Harambe!
Bill Mason.
Harambe! Henry
Beauregard.
Harambe!
Frederick Douglass.
Harambe!
Harambe!
Harambe! Rosa Parks!
Marcus
Family call
Garvey.
them. Harambe!
Christmas Adams.
Harambe! Harambe!
Edith Squaller.
Harambe! Miles Davis!
Harambe!
Come on, family. Harambe!
Lilo Gaskin.
Harambe! Harambe! Harambe!
Edna Mosley.
Harambe! Harambe! Harambe!
Stewart.
Harambe! Harambe!
Mark Lawrence.
Harambe! Harambe!
Will Chamberlain.
Harambe! 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 Harambe!
Harold Duncan.
Harambe! If there are no more names to be called, once again remember, this is a spiritual cultural. If you're not calling because you think it's religious, trust me, it's not. That's not what this is about. So once again, it's important that those whose names were not called, who we understand nevertheless deserve the same respect, admiration, and honor, we pour this last Harambe for those whose names were not called. So once again, let your last Harambe shake Paterson, New Jersey. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Harambe!
You just stand around.
All right.
I know. Just This is the one we pull down. We coming in with the song. No, okay.
Rich relations give crust of bread and such. You can help yourself, but don't take too much. Mama may have, and Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own. God is all. Every child got to have its own.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Mayor Torres, members of the Paterson City Council, citizens of the great city of Paterson, and my former colleague, Senator Del Paul. I had many others. I'm really here having mixed feelings with it, to be honest with you. I'm happy to have the opportunity to participate in your Black History Month program, to make a few remarks about our Amistad law, to enlist you in our efforts to have it fully implemented in Paterson and throughout the state of New Jersey. Once again, we gather here in many venues throughout New Jersey and across the country to celebrate all things African American. We repeat this ritual every year, the shortest month of the year. It is during February that we turn our attention to the extraordinary contributions African Americans have made toward the development of this great country of ours. I've often commented that we attempt to cram so many African American related events into February that it may soon need to have another week or two added to the month. I commend you for this year's theme, Hallowed Grounds. I've been fortunate enough to have participated at several of the sites you have designated as recognition today. I first met Dr. Martin Luther King at the 1956 NAACP convention in San Francisco when I was a Rutgers University student. I know many of you were saying, in fact, somebody told me today, I haven't seen you in a long time, Bill, and you haven't changed at all. Well, as I said, 1956 is when I first met Dr. King, when I was a student at Rutgers University, so you can do the math, figure out how long I did. But I have to tell you that I also met at that time Medgar Evers. He was at that time the NAACP field secretary. We are all in this picture, by the way, which is one of my most cherished possessions I have. You can see a little, but there's young Bill Payne, Dr. Martin Luther King, and Medgar Evers, people that I met at that time. And I had an opportunity. In addition, I did attend the March on Washington. Unfortunately, Medgar Evers was assassinated a few months before that march. Also, my brother, Congressman Donald Payne, and I went to Montgomery to join the thousands who had walked from Selma in March of 1965. And as I say, I was accompanied by my brother, whom I was very, very close to, and many of you may have known him or known of him. Donald Payne was the first African-American congressman. And I'm so very proud today that Donald Payne, Nicole Payne, who is here with us today. Nicole is an educator, and as a matter of fact, it's my understanding that when they wanted someone to speak about Amistad and they couldn't get Bill Payne, they got the next one best, they got Nicole. And I'm afraid that I won't be invited to very many more of these because Nicole is going to take over. I was also fortunate to meet with Rosa Parks when she accompanied President Bill Clinton as guests of my brother at the annual Congressional Black Caucus dinner in Washington, D.C. during his chairmanship of the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm grateful to have had those historic moments and opportunities. But not only Rosa Parks, but I, as a student at Rutgers University, I invited Malcolm X to come to the school here in the pharmacy school in Newark, and Malcolm came and spoke to us and talked about what he believed in and what I believed in. And at that time, I do remember asking him a question. This was before he went to overseas. This is when he was still with the Black Boosters here. And I asked him at that time, I said, Malcolm, you're probably the most powerful African American in this country. You can impact on the outcome of any election if you decided to tell your followers which way to vote. I said, why don't you vote? He said, young man, he said, let me tell you something. When you go out to hunt, if you're a hunter, you go out and you have one bullet in your chamber, you have to make sure that the bullet that you use that target on is the right bullet, is the right target. And when we decide which is the right, most effective, then that's when we will use our power to elect people. I thought that was a very good answer, and at that time, I also said to him, how are you going to get this separate state? As you recall, the Muslims talked about the separate state. And he looked at me and he said, young man, you're probably, he said, remember one thing, I'm a minister of my faith. You're probably a Baptist, aren't you? I said, yes, I am. He said, understand one thing, ours is a religion as well. And every religion has its mystique. He said, when you go to church and they say when you die, if you're good, you're going to go to heaven, right? I said, yes. He said, heaven is up there. I said, yes. He said, how are you going to get there? Are you going to take an elevator or are you going to take an escalator? How will you get to heaven? He said, when your pastors tell you how you're going to get to heaven, that's when we'll tell our people how we're going to get that separate state. In the meantime, we have to have that continued that mystique. And I thought that was a very good answer as well. But anyway, there was some of the people I had met, as a matter of fact, I mentioned I met Rosa Parks and many, many other folks. Dr. King, of course, I worked with throughout the years, and in fact, for about 8 days before he was killed. Dr. King was in Newark, New Jersey. He came in New Jersey, he was here, he stopped, his last stop was in Newark at Abyssinia Baptist Church on West Main Street. And when I got there were so many people there was no parking space, so I double parked my car. And I ran across the street to run up the stairs, and a car pulled up, and I heard someone say, Bill, hold it, wait a minute, and it was Dr. King. Dr. King was just arriving there, and he was, at that time, he had been in New Jersey, and he said, Bill, I'm so exhausted. He said, I'm going to Harry's house when I leave here tonight. He's having some people over there raising some money for my organization. He said, I'm going over there when I leave here. He said, and they want me to go to another church when I leave here, but I'm just too exhausted, I can't do it. He said, as a matter of fact, I'd like you to take a ride. You can ride over to New York with me. Anyway, Dr. King went in. He made a speech against the Vietnam War, by the way. You know, he was a peaceful man. He made a speech against the war, if you recall, and then he came out, and when he was getting ready to leave, he got in the car and he turned around and said, where's Bill? Bill, come along. And I realized that my car was blocking some people and I couldn't go. And I said, Dr. King, I'll see you next time. I had to move my car. Well, that was the last time I saw him alive. The next time I saw him was at his funeral when I attended his funeral. But I have worked with people who gave their lives. And the reason why Bill Payne is angry, I was an angry young man once upon a time. I'm still angry, I'm a little older, but I'm still angry. And the reason I'm angry is because people that I knew, like Dr. Martin Luther King, people that I knew, like Medgar Evers, these are people that gave their lives to what they believed in. They would never, ever compromise on anything. And so Bill Payne will never compromise. I have to say that my presence here today is what has become my life's mission, and that is to implement the Amistad Law. As the author of the Amistad legislation, I declare that the role played by African Americans in the development of this country is an integral part of American history, and should be incorporated into the curriculum of our schools. It is this curriculum that should be taught in every school, every day, not just in February, and not just in predominantly African American school districts. I repeat, this is American history and therefore should be taught to all American students. I introduced the Amistad legislation in 1998 in order to correct the omissions and distortions of the role of African Americans as depicted in the story of America. It was passed into law in 2002, 14 long years ago. And by now, the law should have been implemented throughout the state. Unfortunately, the majority of the school districts have not done so. It is essential that all students be taught the truth about the African American role in every aspect of our country's development from the very beginning. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, our students must know that it was not just white patriots like Nathan Hale and Patrick Henry and Paul Revere who fought for our independence. African Americans did not just stand on the sidelines. We fought in that war too. Paterson, one of the many black soldiers who fought for independence, was at the Battle of Bunker Hill, which we all were taught about. And he's credited with killing the Major Pitcairn, the British Major Pitcairn. I was not taught about Paterson when I attended school. History was whitewashed at the time.
Yes.
The role that blacks played in that war is most often omitted, leaving the impression that whites were the heroes and African Americans did not participate at all.
Yes.
Unfortunately, these false negative depictions of African Americans are prevalent throughout much of the story of our country. Another example is the Civil War, which is depicted as a war between white men who fought to free the slaves. Again, the impression is given that African Americans stood on the sidelines, when in fact almost 200,000 of us fought to defeat the evil system of slavery. Let us not forget the role African Americans have played in all of our country's wars. A most glaring example of omission has been the magnificent record of the African American Tuskegee Airmen during World War II. Until recently, their magnificent feats were ignored. Let us remember that the red in the flag that we salute represents the blood that we, too, shed for our country on the battlefield. Historic distortions are perpetrated throughout much of the curriculum utilized in our education system. It might be better described as our miseducation system, which leaves many white students with a false sense of superiority and many African American students and other non-whites with a feeling of alienation. The implementation of the Amistad curriculum will help to create a positive and truthful learning experience for all students. Amistad is the law and must be implemented as prescribed by the legislation. Our society has benefited from the discoveries and inventions of African Americans. Unfortunately, these achievements by black inventors, explorers, and scientists have been generally omitted from our curriculum. We are left to believe that everything positive has been done by white Americans and African Americans have played no positive role. Thus, many whites develop a sense of superiority and entitlement, while African American students too often develop a feeling of alienation and lose the motivation to succeed or excel in school. The Amistad curriculum teaches the truth and is inclusive of the African American presence in all aspects of our country's development. It teaches about black inventors such as Garrett Morgan, who invented the traffic signal and the gas mask. It teaches about Dr. Charles Drew, who developed blood plasma and established the first blood bank in America. It also teaches about Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, who performed the first successful operation on the human heart. These are just a few of the achievements of African Americans, which unfortunately are missing from our curriculum. I'm completely convinced that we can bring about a sea change in the attitudes and achievement levels of our young people when they are taught about the accomplishments of those who came before them. It's obvious from the demonstration of our young people here today that our young people can achieve if given a chance. I believe they will pull their pants up to their waist, hold their heads up high, and say, we can be achievers too. That is why I volunteer to spread the word about Amistad at every opportunity that comes along. I hope you too will call for the implementation of this legislation through your churches, your sororities, your fraternities, and other groups to which you belong. Please join us as we call upon our district here and all local districts and the New Jersey Department of Education to fully implement Amistad throughout the state. We can do this. It is the law. I always say that if you think that you can't, then you won't. But if you believe, I mean if you truly believe that you can, then you will. And I truly believe that our young people will be successful in their education with Amistad, and this will enable them to take their rightful place as leaders in the world they inherit. Thank you again for this opportunity to be with you.